Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Les Brown's Motivational Monday Night Call, your place for motivation and inspiration with world-renowned speaker, author, coach, Mr. Les Brown, featuring Mr. Brown and his platinum speakers. My name is Dr. Stacey N.C. Grant, and it is my privilege and pleasure to be your host on these Monday night calls. I'd like to invite you to join Mr. Brown in his community on Facebook by going to brown.les, that's brown.les on Facebook, as well as visiting lesbrown.com, lesbrown.com, for information on upcoming events and programs. To all of our new callers, we appreciate you being here and welcome to the family, and thank you for being a part of Les Brown's Motivational Monday Night Call. And to our faithful listeners, we are very grateful to you for continuing to spend a portion of your Monday night with us. So some of you may not know, and if you don't, you will find out today that Mr. Brown has a new product that has been released into the world, but you have to go on his Facebook page so you can get access to his new book and 12 laws that he has released. It is something that will inspire you and remind you about the greatness that lives inside of you. Mr. Brown has been back on the road feeling much better and changing lives, inspiring lives, and not as aggressive a travel schedule as earlier in the year, but getting back to some of the other locations where he'll be able to interact with you all over the world and tell you personally how grateful he is for your support and your following of his work over these couple of decades. So because he couldn't make it here tonight, I'm just going to share two things with you that I want you to think about. It's something that he put out on his Facebook page, and it's just so apropos for the second half of what I want to share with our community tonight. He said, sometimes life steps in and you simply must deal with it. How you see your life, your situation and circumstances that you cannot control or change is determined by your point of view. Decide to be positive and a loving person. Choose to act instead of reacting, especially when surrounded by drama, chaos, and stress. You're stronger and more courageous than you may feel at times. You have the power to find peace, acceptance, and courage in the worst of circumstances. Take the high road and deal with it. You have greatness within you. So that is a message that he shared, and I said, this is very timely considering what is going on in the world. Every time we open up a newspaper, we look at what's happening even in the political landscape here in the United States and some of the tragedy that has taken over portions of our globe from Hurricane Matthew and the lives lost, particularly in the country of Haiti, disproportionately to anywhere else that has been affected by the storm. And you're just wondering, like, wow, so much going on. How are we supposed to just function? Because it almost takes your breath away. And you can get soaked in and watching, and the tears roll down your face as you see the horror that some people have experienced, the loss of life, loss of property, all of the various challenges, and you have to find somewhere else deep down inside of you to have the resolve to keep going. As he put it, your life, your circumstances, you can't control it. Like, we couldn't control that Hurricane Matthew was coming and couldn't control what the after effects would be, for so many families, for now multiple countries that have been affected, and right here in the United States, what is happening. And sometimes it's not the hurricane in the physical sense of what's happening in the world, but maybe the hurricane like the one that swooped in on me last night as I was preparing to take a little downtime today, as there's a holiday here in the United States and most kids are off from school, and some people took an extra long weekend, and anticipating to just catch my breath a little bit and relax and catch up on a few things. Well, hurricane of loss of life swooped in and got a message that a dear friend of mine has passed away. And I was in shock. He's a public figure, and some of you who might be in the New York tri-state area or even just on the news, it's made national news because he made national news as the first African-American to be the district attorney for the borough of Brooklyn in New York. And at the young age of 50, yesterday he took his last breath fighting cancer. And it was a shock to all of us, to everyone. We knew he was ill, but he had just released a statement earlier this week asking everyone to keep him in prayers as he took a leave from work to fight this disease that had come upon him. And I sat down and I said, oh my goodness, it was just a blur. And some of you, maybe you can relate, like life just shows up, life steps in and you simply must deal with it. As Les said, there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. You must deal with it. And, after the emotions came over me and it felt like a hurricane hit me emotionally, I said, well, we have to deal with this. And immediately started to reach out to my girlfriend, his wife, and, figuring out how my day would be changed and altered so that I could be here and be here for her. And as I was going through that, she was up on social media posting information in the wee hours of the morning on how to fight cancer and what the importance of an alkaline body is. And we're all like, she should be sleeping. We think she's in shock. Like, she's grieving right now, but she couldn't sleep. And instead of being angry and starting to question why, she was trying, in the midst of the fresh, raw grief, bring relief to others, share information. And I've spent my entire day with her and the preparations for the funeral. And because he's a public figure, there are a lot of moving parts and pieces. And she is focused on the memories, and she's focused on the good that he did and the legacy that he left. And she's made it up in her mind that she's just going to deal with this. This circumstance is not the most favorable, with 2 young children that she will now be raising as a widowed mom, and so many family members whose hearts are broken and distraught, and so many friends and community activists and individuals who celebrated the historic win for him to become the first African-American district attorney in the largest borough in New York City, and all of the wonderful accomplishments that he has made. And she's focusing on her reaction, being very purposeful, being very grateful for the life that he lived, being very grateful for the love that they shared, being very grateful for the children that they produced, being very grateful for the way in which he has changed his community. And I just continue to sit and look at her and just in my heart be grateful for the example. Because like Les said, sometimes life steps in and you simply must deal with it. You have to choose to act instead of reacting, especially when surrounded by drama, chaos, and stress. What greater stress or chaos could there be than having to bury your husband? What greater stress or chaos could there be than having your children have to say goodbye to dad at such an early age? But in her strength and in her ability to talk with them, they are still sitting in the newness of it. It hasn't even been a full 24 hours yet. But they're not downtrodden. They're not falling apart. They're trying to stand strong on the good times, stand strong on a great legacy, stand strong on the wonderful blessing that he lived. And though his physical body might not be here, the spirit of who he is lives on. And when I think about all of us and our goals and our dreams and the things that we're pushing towards, we don't know when that day will come. And most people get scared. Like, oh, Dr. Stacey, don't talk about that. Don't talk about leaving this planet. We all must go this way at some point. But I've been encouraged today just watching my girlfriend handle this loss, just watching the reaction and the outpouring of love, and watching the way in which his children are still able to find solace in a very difficult time, all because of choosing the reaction, choosing and deciding to celebrate life rather than drown in the sorrow of loss. Grieving is real, and the stages of grief are real, and they will go through each stage, but they're starting at an advantage point of gratitude. They're starting at an advantage point of wanting to celebrate his life and the work that he has done. And the last thing that I want to share my heart with you, my family, what is it that we're building? What is it that we're leaving? How are we using these words, the information, the outline of stretching your skill set, the ability to stand in new truth and stretch ourselves to tap into that greatness that Mr. Brown and all of us talk about. What are we deliberately doing in this quarter, in this space, in this time, so that when that time comes, when that moment happens, that we don't leave this planet without everything we have being shared, that we live full so that we can die empty. Like he lived full. He gave it his all. He put everything out there. So while our hearts may be heavy, our spirits rejoice because we can hold on forever to the impact that he has made. Made me really sit and think some more about how we can show up, how I can show up in a bigger way, how there's more we can do to leave an impact. Because sometimes life steps in and you simply must deal with it. But in our dealing, we have the power to find peace, acceptance, and courage in the worst of circumstances. Take the high road and deal with it. You have greatness within you. Those are the words of my dear friend and mentor and who you admire, Mr. Les Brown. I say to you tonight, I don't know what's come your way. It might not have been a hurricane like Matthew. It might not be the loss of life like my dear friend Kenneth Thompson. But it might be something else that's come. It might be your financial situation. It might be your personal relationship. It might be challenges with your children. It might be your business not producing the kind of income you need to stay solvent. It could be on your job, being let go or displaced. I don't know what storm or which way life is stepping in for you. But my words to you tonight is that there's no avoiding it. We must deal with it. But know in dealing with it, you get stronger. Know with dealing with it and facing it, you can conquer it. It's come not to stay, but it's come to pass. And if you believe that the words that you listen to, the information that you have been inspired by through myself, through Mr. Brown, through Anita Hicks, through Dwight Pleasure, through Wade Randolph, to Dr. Anthony Latson, any of the voices that you've heard on this call, if it has not fallen on rubble, but it's fallen on good ground, that if you've sowed those seeds, that you will be able to find peace, acceptance, and courage to not only deal with it, but conquer it, to not only deal with it, but survive it, to not only deal with it, but then to turn around and be that example and have a testimony that you will be able to share with someone else who might be approaching a similar challenge. Because if you haven't gone through anything, just keep living. Because I guarantee you, either you're coming out of something, you're smack dab in the middle of it, or you're about to approach it. But the way in which we're able to shift our view, shift our paradigm, the way we see things, and our reaction, we then empower ourselves to walk in that greatness and be an example that you're stronger than you think. There's more that you are able to do and conquer just through the changing of your view and your mental context of the situation, because life will show up. And as I end this call and go back and wrap up the evening with preparations for my dear friend, I will continue to be encouraged by the strength of his wife and children and family as I am here to strengthen them. They're even strengthening my resolve to keep pushing, to keep doing, to keep sharing my words, my voice, my platform, so that somebody's life would be better because I came this way. And I want you to do the same. Whatever it is, your service, your product, your business, your idea, your dream, let it be one whose impact will be far-reaching and everlasting, even after we've taken our last breath. That's my story tonight, my friends, and I'm sticking to it. I'll open up the call briefly if there are any comments or questions, and I invite you once again to visit lesbrown.com for upcoming events and information. I invite you to go to his Facebook page, brown.les, to interact and even read the passage that I shared tonight. And if you'd like to connect with me, feel free to do that. And one of the easiest ways is on our new site, actionbook.com. It's just a continuation from Destiny Designers University and our release of the book that is going to Amazon bestseller. So I'm quite excited about that. And you can get it digitally on Kindle. If you have an iPhone, smartphone, you can download the free app and get the book, or you can order it anywhere where books are sold, actionbook.com. Let that be a blessing to you as we finish this fourth quarter strong. Be grateful for every breath we take and make a difference and leave a legacy on the planet. So please stand by for me while I open up the call and then allow you to enjoy the rest of your Monday night.
All callers are unmuted. All callers are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Okay, family, if you have a question or something. Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm doing. Who is this? Somebody calling from Louisville, KY.
And you know it. You know it. Wow. That means we're connected now because you recognize my voice.
Absolutely.
Please extend my condolences.
Tonight, my friend.
I'm grateful for so much. It would take all night. But I have a quick message that I want to share to your friend who has lost her husband. I have a girlfriend. Her son is going through palliative care right now. And something crossed my mind to share with her, and I'd like to share that with the callers. I've lost three brothers. And through each trial, I learned something new, a little something different in how to navigate that, not just for myself, but for their kids. So I'm not sharing this for pity, nor to make you feel bad. The reason I do is because it hurts so bad when our desires to keep a loved one alive is overruled by their will and right to choose to move on their way. Most times it's their feeble attempts to ease others' pain, not their own pains. And there's nothing you can do about it. Know this, you're not powerless. What I'm suggesting here for the future is to love your loved ones out of this world. Remind them of the joys and the laughter that you shared, whether they can speak to you or not, and include anyone else who is willing to participate in that. Yes, loving that person out of this world will make them and you feel less pain in the long run. Try it, as I have, to lighten your load. Now, shine your light and love on your loved ones in the future.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I will share that with her, and thank you for keeping the Thompson family in your prayers. And, you know, the press is covering it because of his public status, but they're privately dealing with this, and appreciate your love and that wonderful poem. I'm definitely going to share that with her. And thank you for being a faithful part of this Motivational Monday Night family.
Absolutely. God bless you.
Thank you, my friend. And I'll take one or two calls before we wrap up. I see one was a person that was trying to unmute. Okay, I hope the lines aren't giving you any trouble, but we appreciate you being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing your light and your love with us. And we look forward to connecting with you again, same time, same place next week. Bye-bye, everyone.